I'm Marcus Benjamin, bringing you the Benjamin Report, live here from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, where the Miami Hurricanes lose their last home game of the season, 38-31 to Louisville. And it was a close game, obviously you could tell from the score, but it was a disappointing ending for this team. And before we get to the ending, let's kind of just talk about the defense, because the defense is what lost this game for the Miami Hurricanes. Surprise, right? Because the defense has been playing excellent all season, where the offense has always come up short in critical moments, which they still did in this game, but I wouldn't put this game on the offense. To me, it was all about the defense that gave up 470 yards to the Louisville Cardinals. And it was in critical moments too, especially towards the end of the game. But what was telling for me at the press conference is when Branson Dean, defensive tackle, was asked, was there anything that Louisville did differently that wasn't seen on tape? And he said that no, that there wasn't anything that they didn't see on tape that they saw on the field. So they just couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the Louisville attack. They got gashed by the tight end in this game. And to me, I feel like Miami was probably gassed by the tight ends, because the tight ends are non-existent when it comes to Miami's offense. Once again, a tight end didn't register a catch in this game. They were barely even on the field from what I could see as well. The tight ends are just not used in this Shannon Dawson offense, and it's still very baffling to me and to many Hurricanes fans week after week that this team does not utilize the tight end. Louisville was able to get into the red zone 5 times, and they scored 4 times on those attempts. To me, that was kind of the difference in the game. When you get into the red zone, obviously the field kind of gets smaller, there's tighter windows, and the tight end works well in those situations. Miami didn't do well in the red zone, and that to me was the difference in this game. Also, this defense couldn't get constant pressure, which was different, again, from what we've seen this season. Like, this season was basically Miami game-wrecking on offense and trying to grind out a win, hoping the offense doesn't turn the ball over. This game wasn't that at all. I was far off on the score as far as the prediction is concerned. And, Vegas was off as well. They predicted this total to be around 46. It ended up being 68. So that's a huge difference. So I think that the outcome of this game was a surprise for everyone. But the big play at the end of the game was ultimately the downfall. And we'll talk about it from the defensive perspective first. The huge passing play that Louisville hit, where 2 Miami defenders collided to Corey Couch and Jaden Davis, that kind of sprung the receiver open. But Cameron Kitchens, the All-American safety, had a chance to make a tackle in this game. And one of my keys to this game in my game preview was to not let the big plays become huge touchdown plays. And that's basically what happened on that last play. And that play ultimately gave Louisville the lead. And that's how the game ended on the scoreboard, with a 38-31 score. It was 31-31, obviously, at that time. And if Cam Kitchens kind of makes that tackle, maybe they hold them to a field goal, and maybe this is a different Benjamin Report at the end of the day. Cam Kitchens actually had a really good game today. He had 8 tackles leading the team. Also had an interception where he baited the quarterback. He was basically, in my eyes, doing everything right, except for the one time where all he needed to do was push the wide receiver out of bounds, who was just, running up down the sideline, and they could have lived to fight another day and another down. But unfortunately, the wide receiver for Louisville scores, and Miami has to find a way to win the game late. Other defensive standouts, though, were James Williams had another 8 tackles, had a critical tackle to, just force 4th downs. Francis Mauigoa also had a great game, as always. He's probably been the most consistent defensive player as far as tackles is concerned, always being in the right spot, not making mistakes. Although he did have a pass breakup, it was an amazing play in itself, but it could have been an interception, and he probably could have taken that to the house. If that happens, we could also be talking about a totally different Benjamin report in itself. But to me, most games this season, I would blame on the offense. This one is on the defense. Lance Guidry, the defensive coordinator for Miami, has been having an outstanding season. He's been nominated for the Broyles Award, which goes to the best assistant coach in the country. I doubt he gets that award now with the performance that we saw today, because we didn't see any adjustments from Guidry to stop their tight end. And we didn't see any adjustments made with the defensive line, who could not get any pressure. I think they got maybe a couple of pressures when the quarterback was scrambling outside of the pocket. And one play was actually very egregious that I have to talk about, because these ACC refs continue to try to, hate on Miami, I guess you could say, is when Ruben Bain actually made contact with the quarterback, and it was called for a roughing the passer. So once again, these ACC refs definitely not playing in Miami's favor. Let's just say that. But on offense, Tyler Van Dyke showed you what he could be today. And that's pretty much the ceiling of what he can be, is what you saw today from Tyler Van Dyke. He passed for over 300 yards, passing for 327, 24 for 39 with a touchdown. But most importantly, he had 0 interceptions and 0 fumbles. He did not turn the ball over. He gave Miami a chance to win this game, but unfortunately, he couldn't convert in that last drive, or last 2 drives, you could say. But definitely the second to last drive was a chance for Miami to take the lead. He did make some good throws on that drive. I mean, he made the one throw that was on the run that I thought was just outstanding. And he also put this team in a position to win in the end with a clutch 3rd down throw to Corey Couch. I think if he makes just a couple more throws, Miami has a chance to win this game. What you do have, though, and while I try to speak over this lawnmower, is that you have a workhorse in Mark Fletcher. The true freshman running back is a workhorse back, every down back that Miami can depend on to get you short yardage, big yardage on the ground and in the air. So really impressed with Mark Fletcher and what he can do. But towards the end of this game, in that final drive in particular, you wanted Shannon Dawson to show you something offensively. Now, he showed a variety of formational looks in this game. Ran some wildcat in this game, like an overloaded line he showed. He also showed how he can be creative with a flea flicker. He had an end around in this game that led to a touchdown for Brashard Smith. He showed some creativity. He was in his bag for the first half. But what was disappointing for Shannon Dawson was the end of the game, where you needed him the most to show up on that final drive to score a touchdown to tie or maybe potentially win, and he just couldn't come up with a play creative enough, which probably is when you want to use your tight end in the red zone to ultimately push Miami to a possible victory in this game. So it was disappointing to see that Dawson had probably one of the better games that he has called as an offensive coordinator, but when it counted the most in crunch time, he could not come up with the game-winning play. So now it's on to Boston College, where naturally you don't think Miami is going to be up for a game against Boston College because it's a noon sleepy kick. You just played 2 games against 2 top 10 teams, and now you travel on the road to Boston College with a game that ultimately doesn't mean a lot because you're still going to a bowl game regardless if you win or lose. Now the bowl game, that's a different story. You want to end this season on a win, but I'm concerned with Miami going up to Boston College and trying to get a win after deflating loss after deflating loss after deflating loss. They now have their 3rd straight loss, and this team is much, much better than what their record shows now at 6-5. Now Cristobal will have to salvage this season with hoping to win the final regular season game at Boston College and a bowl game. Can they do it? Yes. Do I have doubts? Of course. But overall, I still think Miami is progressing as a football team and as a football program. They're still just a dynamic quarterback away from it being elite, and you got to start thinking about the players that you need to push this team over the top. That's going to wrap it up for the Benjamin Report. I do apologize for all the noise in the background. They're preparing for the Dolphins game tomorrow. But that is going to be a wrap for the Benjamin Report tonight here from Hard Rock Stadium. Until the next episode.